It's Jets Weekly with your host, Connor Hrabchak.
Welcome back to another edition of Winnipeg Jets Weekly. I'm your host, Connor Hrabchak. The Winnipeg Jets kept up their winning ways this week as they have now won 6 straight games, sweeping their 3-game road trip that I'm going to cover in this episode before handing out some awards, the hardest working Jet and 3 stars of the week, and previewing the upcoming schedule heading into the Four Nations face-off break. Let's start it off with the game back on Tuesday, a 4-1 win over the Montreal Canadiens. The Winnipeg Jets kicked off their 3-game road trip with a big 4-1 win over the Montreal Canadiens on Tuesday night, and it was Kyle Connor who led the way offensively with 2 goals in this game. Scott Arniel, after the game, outlined how the Jets didn't play well at all in the first period, but really dominated the final 2 periods of this game, took over, and didn't look back. If you take a look at the stats behind me here, the shots 25-24 in Montreal's favor, the expected goals over 4 for Winnipeg to 2.5 for Montreal. The scoring chances were almost even as well, and the power plays. The Jets power play, a rare off night for them, 0 for 3, but they didn't take any penalties. Montreal with no power play opportunities, so this entire game came at 5-on-5, and Montreal was one of the best teams not only in the Eastern Conference, but in the NHL over the last month and a half. So to go on the road, play the entire game, or score all of the goals at 5-on-5 and come away with a big win was a great way to kick off the road trip and the Jets' 4th straight win at the time. That brings us to Thursday night, where the Winnipeg Jets traveled to Boston to take on the Bruins. And if you remember the first time these two teams met this season, it was the Jets walking away with an 8-1 victory. But the fight at the end of the game was the main storyline. David Gustafsson got in his first career fight against Trent Frederick, clearly overmatched, and both Adam Lowry and Scott Arniel spoke after the game that they didn't like how that situation was handled. So coming into this game, a lot of the storylines were whether or not the Jets would look for revenge, and they got revenge. There were no fights in this game, but they walked away with a 6-2 win, and the Boston Bruins got booed off of their home ice. So you know the Jets played well in this one, and it was really the third period. Boston tied the game up 2-2 early in the third period with a shorthanded goal right off the faceoff, and then the Winnipeg Jets immediately responded with 2 goals, Mark Scheifele and Nikolai Ehlers getting them right back. And that brings us to Parker Ford, who was called up from the Manitoba Moose to the Winnipeg Jets for this game, and he absolutely earned that call up. He had 7 goals in his last 9 games for the Moose, and he's from Rhode Island. He went to Providence College where he played hockey, and he grew up a Boston Bruins fan his entire life, and now he's making his NHL debut with tons of family and friends in attendance against the team that he grew up cheering for. And what do you know, he comes away with his first career goal, giving the Jets a 5-2 lead late in the game. This is one of those great stories where a rookie gets into his first career game and immediately scores in that game. A great moment for Parker Ford, and one that he and his family will never forget. And now for Saturday night, where the best team in the Western Conference, the Winnipeg Jets, traveled to Washington to take on the best team in the Eastern Conference, the Washington Capitals, and this game lived up to the hype. It's not often that these big primetime matchups live up to the hype, but this one did. 5-4 win for the Winnipeg Jets in overtime. Josh Morrissey with the OT winner, and this game had a ton of swings. Back and forth, the Winnipeg Jets held a 2-goal lead 3 different times at 2-0, 3-1, and 4-2. The Capitals scored 2 goals late in the third period to tie it, sending it to overtime, and then Josh Morrissey, the Jets' #1 star defenseman, gave them the win, his 2nd goal of the night. But like I said, this game truly had it all, and it was even throughout. The shots 30-29 in the Jets' favor. The expected goals 3.47 to 2.44. Scoring chances 30-24, and the Jets' power play got on the board. It was actually the second unit as Cole Perfetti got another one. He's playing really well as of late. I'll talk about him more in the awards later on. But the Jets coming away with a massive win, securing first place in the NHL to kick off February and their 6th straight victory. Now it's time to hand out some awards, but before we do that, make sure you've hit the like button on the video, hit that subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss Winnipeg Jets Weekly every single Monday morning. And while you're down there, drop a comment down below. There were a lot of standout performances this week, so who's your first star of the week? There are a lot of options. The Jets on a 6-game winning streak, a lot of players playing well. We'll get to my choice in a second, but while you're down there, drop a comment. Who's your first star of the week? Let's get into the awards.
The hardest working Jet.
My hardest working Jet of the week is Parker Ford. He got into his first career NHL game on Thursday night and immediately brought the energy. He was described as an energy guy that could score at the AHL level, and he did just that at the NHL level. He brought the energy, scored a goal on Thursday, brought the energy on Saturday as well in a big Hockey Night in Canada matchup against the Washington Capitals. And like I said earlier, scoring a goal against the team he grew up cheering for with tons of family and friends in attendance, that is a moment he will never forget. And for that, he gets the hard hat this week. Parker Ford is my hardest working Jet.
And now, the Jets Weekly 3 Stars of the Week.
My third star of the week is Cole Perfetti, who had a great game on Saturday night with a goal and an assist against the Washington Capitals in a big matchup. He came to play, and ever since a press conference where he said that he wanted to be more of a prick to play against, he has 7 points in the 5 games since then. So Cole Perfetti doing more on the cycle, his line is playing better, and the results are showing. He's now up to 11 goals, 21 assists, and 32 points on the season in 54 games, and he played his best game of the week on Saturday night against the Washington Capitals. For that, he's my third star of the week. My second star of the week is Mark Scheifele. He's now played 2 incredible games against the Boston Bruins this season, and I don't think that's a coincidence at all. Boston Bruins general manager Don Sweeney is also the general manager of Team Canada at the upcoming Four Nations Face-Off, the same Team Canada that left Scheifele off of their roster. Mark Scheifele played a great game Thursday night with 2 goals against the Bruins, tying Ilya Kovalchuk for the all-time franchise lead in goals with 328, and he also played a great game on Saturday with 2 primary assists on both of Josh Morrissey's goals. He's my second star of the week, Canada's leading scorer in the NHL at the time of this recording, Mark Scheifele. My first star of the week is a guy that we will see representing Team Canada at the Four Nations Face-Off, and that is Josh Morrissey. He had the 2-goal performance on Saturday night against the Washington Capitals, best in the West versus best in the East, Hockey Night in Canada, and Josh Morrissey elevated his game, scoring that massive goal in overtime to give the Jets the win, and ultimately he had a great week, both on Thursday night against Boston and against Montreal on Tuesday, but the standout performance was Saturday night against the Caps. The Jets' number 1 defenseman, Canada's second best defenseman, Josh Morrissey, is my first star of the week. Let's take a look at the Winnipeg Jets' upcoming schedule as we head into the Four Nations face-off break. The Jets will now return home for 2 more games before the break, starting off February 4th, Tuesday night against the Carolina Hurricanes, which for me is one of the best matchups of the season so far. Mikko Rantanen, a top 10 scorer in the NHL, who we've seen many times in a Colorado Avalanche uniform, was traded just a few games ago to the Carolina Hurricanes, so that should be a great storyline to follow. Not to mention Seth Jarvis, who's from Winnipeg and is representing Canada at the upcoming Four Nations face-off, also plays for Carolina. So a lot of great storylines as the Jets take on the Hurricanes in a clash between 2 of the best teams in the NHL. The Jets will then take on the New York Islanders on Friday night, February 7th, which is another game of our Winnipeg Sports Talk Game of the Month ticket pack. Can't wait to see all of you WSTers down there who bought tickets and enjoying the game on Friday night, February 7th. Then we hit the Four Nations face-off break, which runs from February 12th to the 20th, with Canada kicking off the tournament against Sweden on Wednesday, February 12th. Canada-USA is Saturday, February 15th. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that. And then the finals are Thursday, February 20th. Then the Jets will return from the break on the road against the St. Louis Blues on February 22nd before getting into the rest of the schedule. I'll be back next week on Winnipeg Jets Weekly, breaking down the 2 games against the Hurricanes and the Islanders and looking ahead to the Four Nations face-off and the rest of the Winnipeg Jets schedule. That's going to do it for this edition of Winnipeg Jets Weekly. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button down below, hit that subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss this exact video every single Monday morning, breaking down what happened for the Winnipeg Jets over the past week and previewing the upcoming week. Like I said, I'll be back next Monday breaking down that Hurricanes and Islanders games and previewing the Four Nations face-off. I'll see you all next Monday on Winnipeg Jets Weekly. Enjoy the games this week, everyone, and I'll see you next Monday.